Anytime you have a transformation like this, like the one that we're living today, is scary because you're walking into the unknown all the time. The challenge is managing that with wisdom. So during this evolution, we avoid unnecessary conflicts, and because obviously there are individuals that can see it and will evolve with it, individuals that when you're scared, you tend to protect yourself, right, and cocoon yourself. So it's having the wisdom on how this is managed on something that is going to happen, right? But the world and leaders need to have the wisdom on how to manage this piece, right? At the end of the day is developing companies and cultures that can adapt to the environment with the flexibility and the speed that's required today. Companies grew through the 20th century and the last part of the 20th century through very hierarchical organizations, right, which created silos. It's very authoritarian, very driven top-down. And this creates basically a culture that cannot adapt to the current environment. I think you also have a generational gap. So you have new generations today that don't like to work in an environment that they're being told all the time what to do. They like to work in an environment that they feel they can collaborate. They want to work in an environment that there's actual meaningful projects, that they can actually innovate, take risks, and that the organization would allow them to do that. So creating that culture is absolutely critical to the success of any organization. Being first, in my mind, had a very customized approach for us and a process. They understood the process, how to bring this transformation. And we started with the leadership. Leadership means the management board in the company. By being there for 4 days and let's say getting your dirty laundry out, there was an element of trust, which was critical in our organization because we were working in silos, hierarchical, so the level of distrust was enormous in every meeting, everywhere. So the first thing is, wow, I can trust this individual. So there were automatically a level of trust inside the team. Next, the team started working for the team, not just for themselves. So you start seeing people helping other people. You started seeing in meetings people not being afraid to speak up and work together, which I think without the 4 days, it would have taken us a long time, or I don't know if it's even possible, to be honest. Because you gotta provoke that. You have got to provoke that. Well, walk the talk is at the heart of it because unless you get leadership to embrace it, take the ownership and start behaving, walking the talk in my mind, I always interpret it as the way we should behave, right? But you only behave in life in a manner if you believe in it. And then it's about individuals also taking care of each other. So when you start behaving, you see someone else that does not behave, people need to feel comfortable to say, hey, by the way, the way you behaved, maybe it's not the way we want to build this company, right? So getting all those level of comfort, it takes time, but the walk the talk process really did that, right? And people really started to behave more and more and started to embrace the culture and starting, you could call it out, but calling out individuals that basically, if you're not doing, hey, by the way, maybe you should think about it, right? In the case of Loblaw, the impact was enormous, enormous. I had people over the last, say, 6 months, many times coming to me and saying, this company is changing. This company is finally on the right track. This company, I feel that I can contribute, You cannot put it on one thing, but at the end of the day, you can see it on the people being, feeling a lot better, right? Believing a lot more in the company. You can have a vision, you can have a strategy, all the fancy words you want to. This is great, right? But if attached to that, there's not a culture that emotionally links you to the vision, the strategy. Usually a vision, the strategy is worthless. It will never be executed. So I think the outcome is really that emotional link that people start feeling, right? And it's very, very powerful when this happens in an organization. The impact that being first has on a company is assisting you on developing the capability to have your teams, your colleagues with an emotional link to the culture. It's not so much about cultural transformation, but it's getting the passion and the emotional link to the culture that makes it a success.